everybody, and welcome to the Prince Magnum Channel. And today we're at the St. Louis Zoo again. Alright, on our first stop in this trip here to the St. Louis Zoo, we're going to take a look at the differences between a turtle and a tortoise for the first part of this. So if you take a look right down below us, that is a turtle.
Oh, he's sticking his head out. He's like, hi.
Now,
Hi, guys.
the most important part, what makes the difference between the two, is the feet. Notice the webbed feet on here. Now, if you all come over here, they have an amazing turtle. Well, tortoise sitting right there. The clawed feet is the difference. How you doing, fella? Nice profile.
He's so handsome.
Yep. So, there's the difference between the two. So, just remember, turtles, web feet, tortoises, clawed feet. So, there you have it. Hi there, buddy. Alright, still here at the Reptile Enclosure, we have the ocelot mountain viper, which if you read right here is on the critically endangered list, which, as you continue to read, says that we thought they were gone, but we rediscovered them in Turkey in 1983. Take a look at how beautiful this, very active, of course now he wants to get out of the shot, but this is a fine example that it's our responsibilities as the dominant species, human beings, to take care of the environment around us to the best of our ability, because we don't know what kind of damage would happen to the ecosystem if these wonderful snakes were gone. So, as part of our responsibility as human beings, I urge all of you to take a close look at what we can do to leave a smaller damaging footprint that we do. How can we reduce it to make the world a better place? Okay, folks, what we have right next to me, right over here, is the emerald tree boa. Get a good look at that. A beautiful, beautiful looking snake. Absolutely gorgeous. Amazing looking markings. Nothing like it, if you ask me. Now, being that this is such a beautiful creature, this wonderful snake, the emerald tree boa is popular as a pet amongst some people who like to breed snakes and keep snakes as a pet. Now, because of this, I would highly suggest, if you were not experienced at raising snakes and taking care of snakes, do not do this. These snakes can bite, and they can bite hard. And even though they're not poisonous, I've seen, there are pictures of the nasty damage that they can do with those teeth of theirs. So do me a favor, don't, I repeat, don't get one of these as a pet unless you're experienced. All right, and usually, again, with the St. Louis Zoo, they do have some nice little tidbit information up here. It's uncommon, but it's not endangered or anything like that. So there you have it, the emerald tree boa. All right, folks. Now we're at one of my favorite parts of this entire enclosure. Geckos. I love geckos. This here is a leaf-tailed gecko. I think a Hinkle's leaf-tailed gecko. Now, this is where I'm right at home because I know a great deal about geckos. Now, if you look very closely at this leaf-tailed gecko's eyes, you'll notice that they look very, very similar to a snake. Now, that means that this gecko is not going to. None of these geckos are going to be very active because they're nocturnal. So they're going to be very active later on tonight, but we won't be here for that. If they're round, like the ones you would see in the Gecko commercial, they're going to be active in the daytime, or diurnal. I know all of this because I used to raise geckos. I used to raise gold dust day geckos, and they look just like the ones from the Gecko commercial. But these are totally different, and they're absolutely beautiful. And if I can get Princess May to come around over here, you won't be able to tell on these. I'm not skilled enough. But if you actually were to look between their legs, like right in here, sometimes you could actually tell on a gecko if they're male or female by the spots on their legs that run up to the groin area. So, a little bit of information. Of course, they eat crickets, mealworms, and the only problem with keeping something like this is you just got to worry about vitamin deficiencies. They're very easy to keep. So there you have it, a leaf-tailed gecko. Absolutely beautiful looking creatures.
Leopards. They're some of my favorite cats, and unfortunately they are pretty endangered because of habitat loss and poaching, and a lot of poachers will hunt them for their coats because they're very luxurious. They live in cold climates. They are very rarely ever seen out in the wild, so your best chance to see them is at your zoo. So if you can, try to help these things. Hi guys, me again. This is a jaguar. It's not my favorite one, like the snow leopard or the regular leopard, but a lot of people mix jaguars up with the regular leopards. They're quite a bit different. Although their spots may be similar in style, the jaguar is actually quite a bit more stockier, maybe a little shorter sometimes, and quite a bit more, I'd say, wide. You know, don't fat shame. He knows what counts. But he's also got a shorter tail, unlike the leopard. Now, when it comes to the leopard, their hunting styles are quite a bit different. The leopard will kill and then take their prey up into a tree to keep it from said jaguar, so that they can enjoy it later. The jaguar, he still hunts the way he likes to, which I admit I'm not quite sure on how they hunt, besides the regular rawr, I'm gonna pounce on you. But they've got it where it counts, and they are threatened but not yet endangered, so let's try to keep them alive and happy as long as possible too.
I don't know about all of you, but I do love seeing a bird every now and again, especially like this beautiful example of an eagle right over here. Now, it's not your American bald eagle, but it is the Tiller. I can't pronounce it, but it's a beautiful.
Bachelor?
Yeah, something like that.
He's a bachelor.
Yeah. And what caught my eye is the fact that on the listing it says near threatened. So, as part of our responsibility as the dominant species, human beings, is to preserve their habitat to the best of our ability, and of course stop destroying so much of it. Now, this would definitely fit into an in-your-face episode, because right over here we have the marbled teal. Okay, absolutely gorgeous looking. It looks like a duck, to be honest with you.
I think it is.
And because of the fact that, I mean, when I looked up here and noticed that these little guys are threatened, and then you scan up here and look where their country of origin is, towards the Middle East and Northern Africa. Now, if you want to know more than anything why this upsets me more than anything, I can tell you exactly why these guys are now threatened. It's because of all the wars that we're too busy wanting to fight over oil. Oil, okay? Is all of that oil worth these guys? Ask yourself that. That's why it's still our responsibility to find a greener solution so we can still power the world's vehicles, have our economy, and these guys can live as they were meant to be. If they're supposed to go extinct, that should be Mother Nature's doing, not ours. All right, here we are, right in front of this beautiful looking aquarium thing. Right next to us is this cave-like structure. Let's take a look inside. Now, because I know the St. Louis Zoo, somewhat, coming out here since I was a kid, I know what to expect in here. Okay, let's keep moving on down because this you got to see this movie. Come on. All right. Right in here. One of my favorite exhibits here. Right inside here is the sea lions from California. Okay. Now, one of the things that we've been pushing here on the Prince Magnum Channel is the fact that we like to eat sustainable seafood, because overfishing is taking away these guys' natural food source. That is not me talking through the sea lion. All right. That's fantastic. But because of overfishing, we could easily lose these guys too. Isn't that right? Can you give me a head nod? Yeah. So it is very important that we eat sustainable fish to preserve such majestic creatures as these. Wow. Also, while we're on the subject of this neat looking water tunnel that they've got, can you imagine all the amount of pressure that is actually on top of this glass, and for it to be able to withstand, how thick it has to be, how strong it has to be. This in itself is an engineering marvel as well. Oh, and
he's swimming upside down.
That's the one seal man in the sea lion.
He's my favorite.
Yeah.
I call him Oreo.
And there you have it, the sea lion exhibit. Now, for those who do not know, the St. Louis Zoo has had sea lions here since its opening, and that was in 1903, if I remember correctly, right around the time of the World's Fair. Having a sea lion exhibit is one of the oldest at the St. Louis Zoo. Fantastic.
Hi guys, you want to come see the penguins with me? Come on, let's go. Come on. We can go inside and see the exhibit for the penguins. They've got emperor penguins and they've got littler penguins. Those are the prince penguins, I guess. And then we got puffer. They're not penguins, but they're the friends of penguins. So they get to live together. It's kind of dark. I'm scared. Penguin. Fish. I'm glad we don't have that smell-o-vision now, huh? There's a lot of people here, but we'll get through. See the big yellow ones? Those are emperor penguins. Supposedly they have, they date for life. Can you imagine being with the same person forever? That's how the penguins do. Come on. Don't worry, those aren't real. See, this is the only way you can pet a penguin. Look over here, more penguins. These are those littler penguins. Aren't they littler? More emperor penguins. cleaning their bums. They won't come up and say hi to me. Let's keep going, let's keep going. There's more further. Just wanted to make sure I wasn't losing you. I seem to remember this room being a little bit brighter.
Honestly, we don't have any together out.
Here we go.
They look pretty.
These are where the poofins poof. See how they sit all fluffy and cute? That's because they're poofins. Maybe I'll be able to pet this one.
You dare? You retract that hand.
It's a party pooper. Let's go. I guess the wall is supposed to replicate how they live out in the wild. So I'm assuming that the poofers live inside the wall. Estimated guess. Poofers are basically penguin wannabes. That's about it.
All right, folks. This is one of the exhibits I've been waiting to show all day long. Now, there's a lot of people out there, they don't want to give up styrofoam, and a lot of corporate companies, like even McDonald's, is moving away from the use of styrofoam. Styrofoam cups, styrofoam packing products, all that stuff. It's hard to recycle styrofoam. And yes, we've used it a long time, and I have my opinions on you know how great it really is. I won't take a styrofoam cup into Project Spirit, but because of the fact that it's hard to recycle it, you're not going to convince me that it's great. But I know there will be people that will argue with me on this. Now, if you'll take a look at this exhibit right here, this is your mealworm beetle, and from larva state they eat styrofoam. But right now, scientists are looking to see how this can be used in helping safely recycle styrofoam. So either A, we're just going to get a huge influx of mealworm beetles, or there could be genetic enhancements to these beetles at some point in time to make it where they can eat this stuff longer. Now, to go along with what I was just saying, there genetic splicing. I know there's a lot of people with religious faith that scares them. So, let me say it like this. Do you want to keep the styrofoam? Or do you want and risk genetic enhancements to insects? Or is it really all that important to keep your cold that much colder a little bit longer? Just buy a reusable thermal cup. Okay, folks, now this one is another one that we really should pay close attention to. The African painted dog. If you take a look right over there. Beautiful, aren't they?
Camera doesn't show it very well.
Okay. All right. Now, here's the part that is very upsetting. These are close to endangered. Actually, they're endangered, close to extinction. But currently, right now, the St. Louis Zoo is trying to help set up a preserve in Tanzania, over in Africa, set up a wildlife preserve to save these dogs, which is awesome.
Hi guys, so we're at the cheetahs exhibit now. going to be kind of really hard to see because we've got this huge gap in between us and her actual fence. And so we're going to try and take a look-see of her. Hopefully we'll be able to. She's kind of pacing right now. They won't really let us get any closer than what they've got us set up to do right now. However, I did want to talk a little bit about like their spots. A lot of people will call leopard print spots cheetah spots. Stop it. They're spots. Spots. They're spots. Not spots with circles of spots. They're just spots. That's it. Alright? So they have these black lines from the inner corners of their eyes that go down to their nose. And there's a, not legend, but like an old story of how they got that marking. Basically, there was a mother cheetah that had her cubs and lost them. And while trying to search for them, began to cry. And continued to cry while searching for them, but could never find them. And she had cried so much that her tears had stained her fur. And so when she finally was able to move on, if she was able to move on, and had more kits, they had those same markings.
Well, there you have it, folks. Today at the St. Louis Zoo, where we took a look at some different things, some different subjects when it comes to conservation, recycling, and those sort of things, the things that we really should really take a close look at when it comes to our environment. Okay? So let's do a quick executive recap. Number one, we looked at the downfalls of overfishing. Okay? Overfishing our oceans, wildlife suffers, and in the end will end up suffering, okay? Because ecosystems around the world will collapse. I'm not saying don't enjoy seafood, I'm saying enjoy it responsibly. Number two, we took a close look at the devastation of the war going on in the Middle East, constantly fighting for oil. Maybe it's time we can go ahead and push that alternate fuel source that we constantly talk about so much here on the Prince Magnum Channel, okay? Maybe it's time to consider the use of oil and gasoline for internal combustion engines as obsolete, because that solution, we have it. We already have it. The time is now, okay? Because our wildlife is suffering because of the wars. On top of that, we also took a look at some very beautiful, wonderful animals. Some of them will soon be gone, and it's in the hands of us. And can we really live with that on our conscience? Constantly tampering with ecosystems that are not ours to tamper with to begin with. We've done enough damage. Let's start reconsidering what we're doing to the environment. And finally, we took a close look at the use of styrofoam, polystyrene, how it's not really able to be recycled, and how science is considering, you know, a solution to get rid of it, and it's a solution that I know many die-hard religious types are not going to be happy with that solution, because in the end, it's either going to be an overpopulation of a particular bug, or it's going to be genetically enhancing a particular bug. And that second one, I know, scares a lot of religious types. The one religion, more than any, that's found right here in the Midwest. So, after taking a look at those four things, I think we can all come to a conclusion that we need to do a better job when it comes to taking care of our environment. That brings us to the end of this video. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I hope all of you learned a little something more than before you clicked on this video. Alright, check me out on the Patreon account if you have anything to donate. Always appreciate it. Be sure to follow me on Twitter and on Facebook, since there's no such thing as Twitter. Twitter face, we don't have to worry about that. Also, be sure if you enjoyed this video to hit that like button. If you're not subscribed, you might want to do so. But when you do subscribe, be sure to hit that bell icon. You'll be notified every time we upload a brand new video. And as always, get out there and work on a project. Don't care what it is, just do something with yourself. If you have a sweetheart, sweep them off their feet. And as always, if no one out there has told you that they love you today, Prince Magnum does. God bless you, and have a happy 24th. Thank you.
You done messed up, A.A. Ron. Now take your ass on down to Oshag Hennessy's office right now and tell him exactly what you did. Get out of my goddamn classroom before I break my foot off in your ass. Insubordinate and churlish.